Jezebel's threats, you wouldn't believe that such person would be depressed and he would run away to and hide in a cave, from what you would term in quote an ordinary woman. Do you get? And he was depressed. So how? So should Elijah be depressed? Should he have such mental cases? How are we as a Christian able to go through this phase in life and come out from? I think that is why we need an expert to also look into this matter with us.
Yes, thank you very much. Before Doctor comes online, we can talk as Christians, maybe because we don't really have as much experience in that particular field. And that's the reason why we are going to bring in a doctor tonight. But then we have biblical examples. Look at the 3 Hebrews. I mean, something that would have taken their lives away was when they were put before Nebuchadnezzar, right? Bow down before this image. No, we refused to bow down. They stood their ground. So they were able to fully understand that I know whom I believe. I know my Redeemer lives. He's going to, when you are passing through fire, he's with you. That is how we can interpret the kind of power, how to manage this kind of situations. But then we have certain cases that might be totally, that might really need the experts, yes, to step in. So as Christians, what should be our take? What should be our advice at this point, at moments like this, when we know that no, this is not just the spiritual that we're talking about here. You need absolute care from an expert. How do we step in those situations and then talk to an expert, or tell them to go talk to an expert in situations like this? What do you think, Evangelist?
You know, like you rightly said, which is very important. You see, for David, if you look at the Psalms, you see some of these quotes where David had to say, God is my refuge in time of trouble. These were times he was experiencing mental issues. Imagine someone had to go through to the battle and come back and his home is already being plundered. He's depressed. That's what happened. He's depressed. So maybe those days there were no doctors to look at health issues. So we have the word of God, surely. But there comes a time in life also you need to also look at expert advices. For example, I think it was General Evangelist that was saying that he had already prayed for a man and he still advised them to take him for checkup. We see in most of our churches nowadays where you have medical personnel, even right in service, for you to check. So it is very important that even with the power of God also, we have experts, and these experts are also given knowledge by God to use to help us tackle these situations.
Thank you very much, Evangelist. I'm sure Doctor will also agree with us. I think there is a phrase used by medical experts, right? We care, but God heals. Exactly. So there is the place of God. There is the place of a doctor. The doctor can care for you. The doctor we are going to bring online tonight, I know is from the UK, but we hear job titles like caregivers. You see, they are there to attend to you. You see, God is not going to descend from heaven. No, he won't descend. At some point in time, there is a church that we have in the United Kingdom, Christ Apostolic Church, Balm of Gilead. You see, those type of, you have certain people or characters that God purposely stationed them to attend to our needs. So your needs can be in the form of, it can come in the area of maybe Psalms, for example. That's when we have the book of Psalms. It can come in other forms. You see, so we need to be able to fully understand that when care is needed, especially when it comes to mental cases, you need to get the care. Now, the prayer person that you might even consult might not know the genesis of that of how to tackle or even conduct a diagnosis of your problem. The scripture also talked about people that are sick. What? Visit what? The elders.
Yes, sir.
Because what? They have the knowledge, they have the experience to be able to say, this thing I'm looking at, excuse my English, you need what? You need someone to do what? Attend to you. So as Christians, how do you think we can then encourage people? See, it's not a matter of we've seen cases where people just kept quiet about their illnesses, and for that reason they eventually, that led to their death. Care is needed. There are stories of 40-year-old people. Once you start getting to that age bracket, 40 and above, you need to start doing what? I think they call it full body examination and things like that. To do what? To check your vitals. It is important. Do everything that needs to be done. Just before we came here tonight, myself and Pastor Tolu, we were with one of our mothers. They were in their homes watching us online, and they were talking about what? How someone that they know had to be what? Had to be cared for. They had to, even though as Christians, they fully understood that what? This person needs a doctor. So as Christians, sometimes when we see cases like this, what should be our motto? What should be our message to people?
Thank you very much, Pastor. So I don't know if you can confirm that doctor is around, but I am to answer your question. You see some of these things are not really big. Solutions to that the doctors give might be as simple as mindfulness training.
Thank you.
And mindfulness training has to do with meditation, sort of, which is what is in line with the Bible. It might just be in a solitude place and practice mindfulness. It's not dangerous, but it's because we don't have a proper knowledge of these things. But I believe that is why we have the doctor here with us. And I think we can have the doctor now. Can you hear us, Dr. Shitu? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You're welcome to tonight's session. So we have Dr. Shitu online, and Dr. Shitu is a graduate of Olabisi, I beg your pardon, Obafemi Awolowo University, and that's the Great Ife, right? He also has he also has qualifications in MRSC Psych, ST5 in forensic psychiatry, and he currently works in he's been working in the United Kingdom now for 6 years. To break it down a little bit for some of us, MRSC Psych, I think it's just it identifies the membership of the Royal College of Psychiatrists, being a postgraduate qualification awarded by the Royal College of Psychiatrists, and ST5 is a specialty trainer, basically year 5, and this refers to the 5th year of specialized training in psychiatry. So we have a wealth of knowledge from our analysts tonight. So tonight's session, I want the doctor, the experts tonight, to break it down for us. I'm going to highlight the key areas of our questions tonight, and then we'll break it down, we'll dissect it. So the first one that we'll be looking at is overcoming the debate on mental health. That's the first one. So we have some questions down for that one. Then the second one is the impact of mental health on the body of Christ. The third one is overcoming mental health challenges. And then our title for tonight's session is mental health awareness, shepherding in time of crisis. So doctor, let me ask the very first question. What is mental health?
So I prepared some slides. I'm not sure if it's something we can put up just about what mental health is, and just talk about a few things. It's only 9 slides, so it should not take it should not take up to 10 minutes, really.
Okay.
It defines what mental health is, some of the things that we need to consider. I will share those slides now if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
And it's just to let us know, and just to say, I'm not a specialist really. I've been practicing psychiatry for, about 8 years. I practiced I worked in Benin before I came to the UK, and I've been there for about 6 years. So I will share the slide. The slides are not mine. There was some slides we used during some teaching sessions. Let me just, I think I will put that back up. No, that's not it. Let's see. Okay. Can we see that, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so it's just some overview about what mental health is, what affects your mental health, what do we look for, and how can we support ourselves. Something you said earlier resonated with me, about trauma. And, as sad as it is, before I left Nigeria 6 years ago, I've suffered my own trauma in the sense that I think it was 6 months before I left Nigeria, I was attacked by armed robbers when I was working in Benin. I was actually shot with a gun.
Wow.
They stopped me, told me, yeah. They stopped my car, told me to come out of the car. They wanted some money. I didn't give them the money, and they shot at me, yeah. But, thankfully, thanks to God, I survived, out of some miracle, really, which I can explain. But at one point in time, a lot of people have suffered a lot of traumatic experiences, we don't really talk about. So we talk about mental health. So there is a definition by the World Health Organization. It defines mental health as a state of well-being in which everyone realizes their own potential and can cope with normal stress of life, work productively, function, effectively in the community. And what does that mean is that everybody has a state of mental health, regardless. And I think people confuse when people say, I'm suffering with mental health. I kind of find that incorrect because everybody has a state of mental health, which is just a state of well-being. How everyone is able to function in the community and cope with, daily, stress, either it could be job stress or marriage stress, as the case may be. Of course, when your mental health becomes overwhelming and then you start having, disorders like depression or, schizophrenia or PTSD or whatever, then of course that's when people suffer with their mental health, and then that's when it becomes difficulty. Now, there is a slide there that talks about statistics, which is in the UK. I don't have statistics for Nigeria, and it talks about 1 in 4 people in the UK would experience some mental health problem every single year. And and in fact, in the last 4 years, since COVID, since people isolated, the crisis has gone up really. We run clinics over here, and I can't even tell you how many people we see on a daily basis. I worked last night and I still had to go and see somebody at 2 a.m. because she was saying that she was going to kill herself, and we had to go see her just because it was urgent. So when you see people here as well, which is a bit different from Nigeria, because in the UK people tend to engage more, people tend to talk about their difficulties more, like Nigeria, where for example, I was talking about how I was shot. And you will not believe that a week after I was robbed, I was back at work already. My hand was bandaged because I lost a finger after being shot, and I was already back in there.
Okay.
And that was it, So it just talks about a lot of people. Talks about percent. I don't want to bore people through because this is just a UK statistics. I'll move on from that slide. Now, there's something that correlates with what is called mortality, of course, which is percentage of people that die as a result of a particular illness. And it says that social isolation is an independent variable for life expectancy. Now, in the UK here, there are a lot of lonely people, and those are the people that you often see come into the clinic and tell you, my mood is low, I feel suicidal, I don't feel like life is worth living, and years down the line, you see these people coming in with, either taking overdoses because they want to end their lives, or threatening to jump off a bridge, as the case may be. So, and it's a bit different in Nigeria because if you're isolated, I don't think nobody really cares, is it? As the case may be, which is a bit different here. I can say that. Now, what can affect people's mental health? Like I said, everybody has a state of mental health. Everybody, we all have a state of mental health, just like we have, physical health, just like we have spiritual health, just like we have, emotional health, as the case may be. Everybody has a state of mental health, but what can affect it? Poverty, quite a lot of things listed here, long-term illnesses, divorce, trauma, which is extremely important. You see, of course, being here, you hear a lot of news about people that have been kidnapped, in Nigeria. And sometimes I tell my wife, and I said, it's not even about the fact that you're kidnapped, it's about the aftermath. Nobody talks about the trauma that you experience from just being in the bush with some unknown people, being tortured on a daily basis, and you have to go back to the community, and everybody expressed it never happened, which is almost impossible. Nobody ever talks about these things. Unemployment, sexual abuse, which a lot of people don't talk about, especially in Nigeria, quite very common here as well, which I would not really go into. Relationship problems, here you see a lot of people coming to the hospital, they want to break up with the boyfriend, and the next thing is they want to end their life, and you've got to care, you've got to show them that empathy and try and find ways to help them as the case may be. And quite a lot of other things as well, bereavement, as the case may be. And what do you look for when people are struggling with their mental health? This is just a few out of a whole lot of things. There are several mental health disorders. You could have people suffer with depression. You could have people with personality disorders. You could have people with schizophrenia. So quite a lot of people with schizophrenia when I was in Benin. I worked in the psychiatric hospital in Uselu. Quite a lot of people with psychosis, really, as the case may be. Depression, as the case may be, as well, bipolar affective disorder, several disorders, and they have their own presentations, really. But this is just like general thing to look for in several people. So you see somebody who's becoming withdrawn, somebody who's becoming low, change of behavior, something that it feels unusual, somebody that comes to work every day, comes 9 o'clock every day, and all of a sudden starts coming late to work, or doesn't come to work at all. Then you want to know what's going on, before things go downhill. Because one thing we know is that before people suffer full-blown mental health crisis, there are warning signs. There are signs that are there that, as Nigerians, we might tend to ignore. We might just say, Niger boy, Engo cope, stuff like that. Dementia, social isolation, change in physical appearance. Somebody that likes to dress corporate to work, all of a sudden starts changing the way they dress. Those are the things that tell you something might be going on. Changes in it. Sorry,
Can you hear me? So, if you permit me, because
yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
If you permit me, because of time, I like to go practical here. Let's say a pastor, in the northern part of Nigeria, for example, has his family kidnapped. How does he overcome that state? What does he need to do? Because we are really pressed of time, and I really need to get some of these questions out so that people can really learn from it. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah. I'm happy for us. I'll stop sharing. I just wanted us to have that overview. I'm happy for us. So can you repeat the question again? So there's a pastor in the north, yeah?
Yeah.
He said his family kidnapped.
Yeah. So what and he's already been depressed and all. What should he do? Should he just go to mountain and start praying? He even know that he's having some of a mental case, or as the case may be. So what should he do? How should he approach such things?
The first thing is to identify that there is a problem. The first thing is to identify that I am going through a mental health crisis at the moment, and there is no issues with praying. There is no issues with going to the mountain and saying, and praying that, your family is, safe and, they're rescued. But it's also understanding that if you're depressed, there are medications that can help, If you're not sleeping, there are medications that can help. If you have anxiety, there are medications that can help. Of course, what the medications do not do is that they don't take away the fact that your family has been kidnapped. But of course, it makes you feel better, it makes you sleep, and it reduces the anxiety that you feel. And it's not just only medications as well. There's talking therapy. There are psychologists that, well-established psychologists that people speak to, people that have experienced trauma, that you can speak to, lots and lots of sessions, really, and that people actually find helpful. And just to say also that they are very, very research-based. We know that they work. So we offer them to people that we see. So if there was a pastor that was, feeling depressed because the family has been kidnapped, or because he's lost a very close family member and is struggling to cope, of course, the first thing we would do in that case would be to refer to a psychiatrist, as the case may be, and try and explore, is this truly depression? Is this grief? Is this bereavement? Is this some form of acute stress? And the way you manage it is different. If it's depressed and you think, okay, it will benefit from some talking therapy, you refer to talking therapy. Of course, living in Nigeria, we don't have a lot of psychologists or psychotherapists in Nigeria, which I know. But
let me step in now. I'm sorry to say, we have just 5 minutes left, but I'm still going to ask one more question, and then my co-moderator will be asking the final round of questions. So my own question now is, what are some of the specific challenges and traumas that, let's look at it from the perspective of us as Christians now, or it can be from our race. You live in the United Kingdom. I'm sure you've had cases of racism in the United Kingdom and in other parts of the world. But here in Nigeria, we still have our own challenges when it comes to, oh, you're from this religion, or you're from this tribe, and so on and so forth. So what specific challenges or traumas that we face what challenges or traumas that Christians may experience, or as the case may be, whatever race that we may experience, that's what
I think the first thing,
due to persecution.
The first thing is,
yes, go on.
I think the first thing is lack of awareness. It's a lack of awareness that people don't realize in Nigeria that mental health is a big thing. Lack of awareness in terms of when people feel depressed or when they feel low, they don't understand that they need to see a psychiatrist. And there are psychiatrists in Nigeria that will see people. I mean, I've talked to quite a few people when I worked in Benin. There is stigma as well. We can't underestimate the impact of stigma. How can I, who is a renowned pastor, tell my other pastors that I'm feeling depressed and I went to see a psychiatrist? How would they see me? Would they see me as being powerless? Would they see me as losing faith, as the case may be? So you can't underestimate that stigma that people feel, which we need to overcome eventually if we need to, get the best from our mental health. Of course, we look at resources as well. Grossly, there's a lack of resources in Nigeria, as the case may be. Like I said earlier, we have very, very few psychotherapists or psychologists that can help with these things. And which, if you come to a country like the UK, of course, there is quite a long waiting list, but there are people available that can talk to you about these things. And it's not just about medication, really. So, and of course, we can sit down here and talk about the economic crisis, which would impact on, funding for, some of these things, either creating hospitals or training people to become psychologists, as the case may be. So, of course, we look at all these, all these challenges, and we think about how we can overcome these challenges, really. So it's all about creating that awareness, letting people know that talking about their mental health is not a form of stigma. And I think it's a place to start.
I think I would love to ask, in rounding up, really, are there any quick fixes? Are there quick fixes to these things?
No, there are no quick fixes. No, unfortunately, because it's not a case of where you have high blood pressure and you take antihypertensive medication, or headache and you take paracetamol. It involves a lot of self-awareness in terms of, I'm struggling with my mental health at the moment, and I really want to seek help. I don't care about the stigma. I don't care about what people would say. I am a human. I am vulnerable, and, I am not perfect. I'm not God. So I will seek help when I know that help is there.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Shitu, for this time. It's been a very lovely session, though quite short, but very lovely. You want to say something, sir?
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. It's great having you on board tonight. You've greatly impacted our lives. Yeah, from the perspective of a doctor, even though we might add few things from the Bible here and there, but it's always good to have a variety, to have that mix, and you've done a great job by answering our questions. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a wonderful session.
Yes.
So tonight, though very short, but I know some people usually say that just spices it up. We have a very clear overview of what mental health is and how we can seek for help.
Yeah.
And that has greatly helped us. So for viewers online, thank you very much.
Thank you
for joining in. Tonight with me we had Evangelist Jerry. My name is Elder John Mark Oladele. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
Season to retreat, refresh, and refire is here again. It's the Christ Apostolic Church Pastors Conference 2024, tagged Spiritual Power and Gift for the Body of Christ. It's a gathering unto the Lord where we gather to equip, empower, and inspire one another to fulfill our sacred calling.